Number 12. The Acura RL always had an image problem, and honestly, that's exactly what earned it a spot on this list. Nobody looked at the 2005 RL and thought, yeah, that thing is fast. It didn't intimidate anyone at a stoplight. The badge said luxury sedan. The design whispered quiet Japanese precision. But the people who actually owned one knew the truth. Every time they got behind the wheel, they drove away with a smile. That's because the 2005 RL introduced something that had never been seen before in a production car. Super handling all-wheel drive. SHAWD didn't just split power between the front and rear axles, it could actively send torque to the outside rear wheel in corners, creating this slingshot effect that made the car feel way lighter and sharper than it looked. In simple terms, this four-door family sedan handled like a sports car. Its 3.5-liter VTEC V6 made 300 horsepower and could hit 60 miles per hour in around 6.2 seconds. Number 11. 2015 Chevrolet SS. In 2015, Chevrolet sold fewer SS sedans than Porsche sold 911S. That fact should bother way more people than it does. The SS was the true successor to the classic American performance sedan formula. Rear-wheel drive, a naturally aspirated 6.2-liter LS 3V8, Brembo brakes, and Nürburgring-developed suspension, all hidden inside a body so understated that most people had no clue what they were looking at. And 2015 was the year Chevy finally gave it the manual transmission it deserved, the Tremec TR60606 speed. That gearbox transformed the SS from a great performance sedan into something borderline spiritual for enthusiasts. Paired with the LS3's smooth, linear power delivery and Holden's brilliantly tuned chassis, it delivered a driving experience that even European sedans costing twice as much struggled to match. The Chevy SS basically picked up where the Pontiac G8 GXP left off. Same LS3 power, optional manual, Brembos, and nearly identical bones underneath. Just like the G8, the market ignored it. Only 3,168 were built for 2015. Number 10. 2008 Saab 9.5 Aero. Saab's final years were kind of tragic. It felt like a company that knew exactly what it was doing, but just couldn't get enough people to pay attention. The 2008 Saab 9.5 Aero is a perfect example. It was turbocharged, front-wheel drive, and delivered real long-distance performance in one of the cleanest, most understated packages of its era. Its 2.3-liter biopower turbocharged four-cylinder made up to 300 horsepower when running on E85 ethanol. On regular gasoline, it was rated at 260 horsepower. Either way, the torque came on early and stayed strong through a wide power band, making highway passing feel effortless. 0 to 60 took about 6.1 seconds, and top speed was electronically limited to around 155 miles per hour. But what made the 9.5 Aero special wasn't just the numbers, it was how it felt. Only around 3,000 were produced for the US market that year. Number 9. 2018 Acura RLX Sport Hybrid SHAWD. The RLX Sport Hybrid might be one of the most technically advanced cars ever sold at a mainstream American dealership, and almost nobody bought one. Acura's flagship combined a naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6 with 3 electric motors, one helping power the front axle and 2 independently controlling torque at the rear wheels. Total system output, 377 horsepower sent through a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission, and the rear torque vectoring system was insanely precise. Acura called it Sport Hybrid SHAWD, and honestly, there was nothing else at its price point that felt quite like it. The moment you turned into a corner, you felt it. Mid-corner adjustability was incredible. 0 to 60 happened in about 5.0 seconds. Top speed was around 158 miles per hour, and somehow it still returned about 28 miles per gallon combined. Only 1,931 were sold in 2018. Number 8. 2009 Pontiac G8 GXP. We've talked about the G8 GXP on this channel before, but it's one of those cars that deserves to be mentioned every single time. It was Pontiac's peak, right as the brand was dying. Under the hood, it packed a Corvette-derived 6.2-liter LS 3V8, pushing 415 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque, paired with either a 6-speed automatic or a Tremec manual. It hit 0 to 60 in about 4.5 seconds, seconds and ran the quarter mile in 13.0 seconds. But it wasn't just fast, it was refined. It proved that GM could still build a proper rear-wheel drive performance sedan when they wanted to. Only 1,829 were sold, not because people didn't like it, but because Pontiac was already being shut down. The GXP didn't fail, the timing did. Today, it's a cult classic. Number 7. 2016 Lexus GS F. Japan has always been good at making performance cars that fly under the radar, and the 2016 Lexus GS F is a perfect example. From a distance, it just looked like a slightly aggressive GS, nothing scary, but under the hood, a naturally aspirated 5.0-liter V8 revving to over 7,000 revolutions per minute and making 467 horsepower. No turbos, no supercharger, just pure engine sound and character. 0 to 60 came in around 4.5 seconds, and thanks to its torque vectoring rear differential, it handled corners incredibly well. Only 1,418 units were sold in 2016. No big marketing push, but the driving experience spoke for itself. Number 6. 2017 Genesis G80 Sport. By 2017, Genesis had just become its own luxury brand, and honestly, that confusion helped this car become a sleeper. The G80 Sport came with a 3.3-liter twin-turbo V6, making 365 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque, paired with an 8-speed automatic and rear-wheel drive. 0 to 60 was around 4.9 seconds. It looked clean, classy, and completely non-threatening. Most people didn't even know what Genesis was at the time, and that made it the perfect disguise. Only about 1,134 units were sold in the US. Number 5. 2019 Kia Stinger GTS. The Kia Stinger was already one of the most underrated performance sedans out there, but the GTS took it even further. For 2019 only, Kia made around 800 units of the GTS, featuring a special dynamic AWD system that acted mostly like rear-wheel drive but could send power to the front when needed. It had a 3.3-liter twin-turbo V6 with 365 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque, and from the outside, it looked almost identical to a regular Stinger GT. At a stoplight, nobody saw the Kia badge and thought, this is fast. And that's exactly why it worked. The GTS could end races before they even started, and that gap between expectation and reality is what makes a true sleeper. Number 4. 2018 BMW M550i xDrive. The M550i is one of those cars people completely overlook. Visually, it's just a 5 Series, same clean design, same subtle M Sport trim. Most people just see nice BMW, but underneath, a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 with 456 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque, plus rear-biased AWD and a ton of M-level hardware. 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds. It's not quite an M5, but it's a lot closer than people think for way less money, and visually, almost no difference. Only about 400 early units hit the US with specific launch specs. For those who knew, this was basically a hidden weapon. Number 3. 2016 Volvo S60 Polestar. Approximately 106 US units, 345 horsepower. Most people don't even know Polestar started as a racing team. Volvo bought them, and suddenly that race DNA ended up in cars like this. The 2016 S60 Polestar packed a 3.0-liter turbo inline-6 with 345 horsepower, Erlen suspension, Brembo brakes, and AWD 0 to 60 in about 4.7 seconds. And yet, it still looked like a normal Volvo S60 with a small blue badge most people wouldn't even recognize. Only around 106 sedans were sold in the US that year. That's insanely rare for something this capable. Number 2. 2017 Audi RS3. Europe had the RS3 for years. The US had to wait, and when it finally arrived in 2017, only 165 units were sent across the entire country. Under the hood, a 2.5-liter turbocharged inline-5 making 400 horsepower, paired with a dual clutch and quattro AWD, 0 to 60 in about 4.1 seconds, usually faster in real life. And that engine sound? Completely unique. Nothing else on the road sounds like it. From the outside though, it just looked like a regular A3 to most people, which is exactly what made it so dangerous. Number 1. 2018 Jaguar XJR575. And here we are, a full-size luxury Jaguar sedan with wood trim, massage seats, and 567 supercharged horsepower. The XJR575 did 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds and could hit 186 miles per hour. But visually, almost nothing gave it away, just subtle black trim, a mesh grille, and small badges. From a distance, it looked like a normal XJ, only around 85 units made it to the US. That's it. This was Jaguar's final statement before moving on, and almost nobody noticed. A 186 miles per hour luxury sedan with limo comfort, and barely anyone knew it existed.